You're lefty. You have two giants. What was it like coming up when you were playing the position? And now, as you reflect, or even look forward, and you know what these two men stood for and what they did to help build shoulders for you to stand on.
Yeah, about 3 years ago, my wife and I was having a conversation in the car, and I was, I'm always talking about those who came before me. And, out of nowhere, she was like, you should do a story on the history of the black quarterback and history of the position. And what we just seen on the screen. And it started out as a thought, and really just paying homage and respect to the ones that came before me, because I know how hard it was for me to, be drafted #1 and playing in the National Football League. And, if it wasn't for these guys, as you will see in this piece, a lot of the things that happen to me don't happen for myself, Donovan, don't happen for Dante Culpepper, it don't happen for, Vince Young and Lamar Jackson. These guys are so much of a piece of our American history in terms of sports that, I feel like, we gotta always pay homage to those who came before us. And these guys, they tell some amazing stories. You gotta watch this piece, who was pretty much produced by my wife and Amazon and myself. But you'll learn a lot about what we went through to get to where we are, to be able to sit on this stage and to be able to, communicate the way we do.
Great. If you could pass that down to Shaq. Shaq, just your thoughts, because you were still, I don't know if you were with the Jags in the personnel, but when Mike came out and you watched him play and how he brought, we've seen running quarterbacks before, but the element that Mike brought.
Well, first of all, let me say congratulations to Mike and his inaugural event and all the people who turned out and what you're doing to make a difference in the lives of so many others. Congratulations. When Mike came out, I was scouting for the Baltimore Ravens. We just won the Super Bowl and separating quarterbacks. In 30 years of scouting, it's only been 3 times that I never ran the tape back. One was Marshall Falk at San Diego State. Each time, that time I think I only got me some grapes. Went down and turned it on and enjoyed the movie. Never ran it back. The next time was Barry Sanders. I think that time I got me some raw cashew nuts. And enjoyed Barry. And the next time was Mike Vick. Seeing a quarterback that could, first of all, in order to be a black quarterback and be the first one to draft at #1, was not said enough about his ability to throw the football. He really could throw the football and was an amazing athlete. And I think it made a difference in so many lives of young kids realizing that they can get an opportunity to play. We all of us, had only one thing. We all dream, like all of you, for one day to get the opportunity to play quarterback. And for some, seeing Michael Vick being drafted #1 mean that their dream could come true. Every time I dreamed of playing quarterback, it was a nightmare.
All right. So Doug, you were prototypical in the pocket, let it rip, things like that. What was it like when you were coming? Were you ever coached to take off and run or this and that, or like, nope, if you want to make it in the NFL, you have to play a certain way?
No, fortunately, excuse my voice too. James and I was coached by Ed Robinson, and
you handed the ball off a lot.
We ran the wing T, and it's one thing that coach told me, I never forget. He said, "Hey, Cat, I got 2 running backs and a wing back. I don't need you to run." So therefore, I was built in the pocket. No, but I could run now. Don't get me wrong. If I had to, I could run, but not like Mike Vick now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not that kind of runner. So I was taught to drop back in the pocket and deliver the football, and that's what I did as a player. Mike come in. I think Mike is the reason today when you see all these young African American quarterback, it's not one of them that can't move. And I think he gave a lot of black kids hope to play that position because now they can run, they can scramble, they can do whatever, but they also can throw the football. One of the guys that I think about is Jalen Hurts, you know, because they didn't give him credit for a passer. They say he was a runner. But I'm looking back last year in that Super Bowl, he threw 2 passes that if you're not a passer, you don't get him in there. He threw a sideline and he threw a corner out. And that wasn't just a guy who can't throw the football. So what I'm saying is, Michael Vick for what he did, and you know, like I say, when Mike played freshman, when you were a freshman, Mike got in New Orleans. Mike was a freshman in New Orleans, and I spoke at the breakfast that morning when he was going to play in the championship game. So I go way back when you talk about Michael Vick. But when I first saw Michael Vick, I thought he was a Lamborghini, the way he was moving, you know, because nobody can catch him. But at the same time, if you give him a chance and give him the blocking, nobody can throw like Michael Vick. His left arm had that slingshot, and when he got out his hand, it was going where it had to go. So I think Michael Vick has pretty much kind of redefined the quarterback position in today's football.
Mike, when you hear things like that, how does it make you think? Because so many of us, I got this, and I got to cover you, I got to see you firsthand, and you were just so exciting. But looking back, and you're hearing these 2 guys say you were a Lamborghini, didn't have to roll the video back to why that. But how does that hit?
You know, it makes me feel good to hear that, and Doug coming to speak to us before our national championship game was like jaw dropping to me. You know, here's a guy who, you know, I know about his history, and I knew that, you know, my goal was to play in the NFL one day. Never wanted to be drafted. I mean, we all want to be the best at our position, respectively. Didn't think I would be drafted number 1. That's a lofty goal. I didn't think that was possible. I just wanted an opportunity to play in the National Football League. And so Doug told me that day that if I kept it up and kept my head on straight and kept doing things the right way, that I would have a chance to play in the NFL. And so just, you know, getting that vote of confidence from somebody who played on that level and looking at me as a young, you know, quarterback up and coming, because there was a lot of scrutiny as to how I played. And, you know, a lot of, you know, media was saying I should throw it and not run it. And, you know, I just made up my mind one day. Roddy was a part of that, you know, understand. You know, Roddy was there every step of the way, seeing me go through that in the media. I thank God I had a receiver like him, because, you know, all those passes I was completing was because of guys like him. And he helped me with my accuracy. He was able to get open. You know, so I progressed, you know, gradually over the years, and it was because of receivers like Roddy and Brian Federer, where I made my mind up that I'm gonna become a better passer for them and not just for me.
Yeah, I mean, Finn moved the chains, got in the end zone. Roddy was the big play guy. You had a lot of others, Fields Price, a lot of really good players with you. Let's take it to today's game. Talk about the modern quarterback, and you're doing TV on Fox. Back in the day, I would not have picked that career out for you, Mike. The way you.
Truth be told, Steve, I mean, we can tell everybody in this room, like, man, I was a guy who I shied away from media day. Only thing I ever wanted to do was play football. He was another guy that gave me a vote of confidence. Say, man, just say what you want. Just believe in what you say. You know, I used to tell him all the time, I just want to play ball. I don't want to talk no media. I don't want to do anything else. So to be here in this moment, I can just say I've grown a lot, and I'm thankful for that. But I guess that's what life is all about.
Absolutely. Here. So, and I want you to start and pass the mic down. What quarterback today? Like, who is, like, in your eyes, you watch, like, who is that dude?
I would have to say Lamar Jackson. I would have to say Patrick Mahomes, Desmond Ritter. Got a lot of potential. Yeah, those are the guys that I look at and I feel like, you know, they're changing the game. You know, 20 years from now, the game is going to be different, and who knows what it's going to look like.
You run away tee.
We're never going back to that, though.
Janet, Doug, who do you like, Doug?
There's no doubt Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. But let me say, you got to give some credit to Josh Allen, the way he played the game. He played the game to win. You know, and all those guys put their team on their back and try to will them to the win. That's what I like about those guys.
Who you like, Shaq?
I like the same group. It's hard not to like the same group. I like Patrick Mahomes because he played the game like you're on the sandlot.
Right.
You know, but he played intelligent. He know the game. What I like about this group of quarterbacks you're talking about, Mahomes, Jackson, I like Hurts, is that they're complete players. They're what I call a field jump. They can run, they can throw, but for a long time we wasn't thought about as being people who knew the game. And this group can do all of it.
Okay, we're now going to stir it up a little bit. Now I'm being a football guy here. By the way, Joe Burrow, if he was healthy, I think, is in this group too. He's a killer. Brock Purdy, the last guy drafted, he is leading almost every statistical category in the NFL. Shaq, we see people say, oh, he's small, he doesn't do this and that. But he's winning a lot of ball games, putting up a lot of numbers, he's not getting his receivers hit, things like that. When you look at him, you say, is Brock Purdy one of those guys who could be in that group? No, I want to hear, I think it's a good discussion. I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Well, that group you're talking about, I don't think he ever would be the runner.
Right.
That group, I think that would separate it. But I think you have to look at the team he's with, the coach he's with. If you put all that together, he's proven that he can play the game. We don't know what his ceiling is, but I think he's on the rise and he has the opportunity to lead an outstanding team to the playoffs.
You know what we say, Doug?
No, pretty much the same thing. You know, first of all, we got to get Kyle Shanahan some love for what he does.
Yes.
You got to get Debo Samuel some love. You got to give McCaffrey some love. You got to give IU some love and that offensive line. So I think what is happening here, Purdy has the confidence because he knows what he's working with. And when you got the confidence and he's smart enough to play the game, it makes it a lot easier when you're playing with guys like that, and then you can play within your game.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, you know, systems make quarterbacks. Brock Purdy was what we deemed Mr. Irrelevant. That's the last pick of the draft. And he's a little undersized, not the strongest arm, but he believes in himself. And I think, you know, when you have those intangibles, then the sky's the limit. You know, some guys don't get enough opportunity, and I think sometimes the league moves all the guys way too fast. And, you know, it's just a development process. So I like what Brock is doing. I think he's with the right coach, the right system, and, you know, I think we all had the most success when we had a defense behind us. When you got a defense, you get opportunity, you definitely gonna be a better quarterback because you're gonna have more first and second downs than not.